Welcome to Behind the Mic, the deep dive behind radio theology. Here are your hosts, Daron Earlywine, Lisa Graff, and Ryan Allward.
This episode of Behind the Mic brought to you by the F word.
What?
Or at least the letter F. Isn't that how they do it in Sesame Street?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sesame Street's brought to you by the letter F. And the number 8.
That's
and
right.
The color blue.
I forgot about that. They do that, don't they?
Behind the Mic, the deeper spiritual conversation that comes off of or behind radio theology. Right here in your eardrums. Pastor Daron Earlywine here with Ryan Allward and Lisa Graff. Welcome to the podcast. And today is actually brought to you by the letter F because we talked a lot about fear, talked a lot about feelings, talked a lot about facts and faith.
Wow, that's 4.
4 F words.
Usually you stick to like 3 when you alliterate.
Yeah, it's kind of the unspoken pastoral sermon writing rule.
Yeah.
Right?
You
It's
just-
the
just
law
3.
of 3.
Law of 3.
But today I couldn't cut one of these out.
Right.
They're too foundational
Wow. So good.
and fundamental to the fun that we're going to have as we find a great.
Go ahead.
I ran out of F words. Sorry.
I could think of one.
Hello. Hey, here's the deal. So we talked about the coronavirus. We had the amazing song, Ryan, written by you. You know what? I do love it when we
should play
put
it.
music into
Yep.
Behind the Mic
Yep.
because maybe you missed it. You don't know about the comedy. So a world premiere, a radio theology original, written by Ryan Allward through his alter ego, who doesn't have a name yet, but he needs one.
He's a lounge singer.
He is the lounge
So
singer.
good.
Yeah.
Lisa has been trying to get Ryan to do. We're trying to find some bit for this voice because a lot of
Yeah.
times when we're recording radio theology, we'll be in between segments and Ryan will just start singing.
Can you do it now, like just a pop song in the lounge singer voice, just for me as a gift?
If you think that I'm still holding on to something, you should go and love yourself.
So that's been over a year
Yeah.
since he's been doing that. Probably 2.
Yeah, over and over. It comes.
And I'm
He
like-
comes out all the time.
Yes,
At
but
least.
never. He's never made the error. So my
You know what I
heart
think?
is full.
You know what it is? It's me hearing my dad impersonate Steve Martin from like his stand-up comedy.
Yeah, he had that kind of. He had a
It's like,
bit
I'm
like
a
that.
wild and crazy guy.
And my dad would do that. And my dad also looks very much like Steve Martin now.
He does look like Steve
Yeah.
Martin. I never
the
thought
white
about
hair
that.
and the glasses and all that. And
I think I
so-
figured something out, Lisa. Is you have asked Ryan to do that, and he's not done it.
Yeah.
We came up with we should do this kung flu fighting song.
Yeah.
Didn't say do the lounge singer,
Nope.
and then he presented it and surprised us that
It was the voice
It's got to be
that
his idea.
yeah, it does.
it was the
Yeah.
voice that felt right in the moment
Yeah.
as I was recording it.
Enough talking about it. Enjoy kung flu fighting.
Oh my gosh. I can't get enough of it.
You're welcome, Lisa.
So good.
I played it
Ah.
for my kids. My son Knox is your biggest fan, Ryan.
I love that guy, dude.
He literally had. I played it for him twice. He had the song memorized.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, he will be walking around the rest of the week being
Yeah.
like, "They're Clorox wiping."
That's just what his elementary school needs.
Yes.
Is not the coronavirus to spread, obviously that too, but the kung flu fighting song
Oh, yeah.
at first grade to start spreading.
Actually, I might tell Knox to take it to school as like a show and tell.
Yep.
He
Yeah.
could probably save everybody's lives.
It
Yep.
adds new meaning to going viral.
Yeah. Gosh.
You're welcome.
You
Oh, my gosh.
are
On fire.
special. I love it. I love it. You know what? But the thing is maybe they do need to go and have the song go viral in their school because
Maybe.
what's the actual thing that I would love from he's a third grader, from third graders to people literally in their 70s is to
Yes.
get their mind around that we actually aren't that much in danger of kung flu fighting.
Yeah.
The coronavirus probably not going to kill you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But fear is absolutely trying to derail your life.
That'll eat you up inside.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We talk about it all the time on the show, right? We have a lot of phrases. One of the ones we say, though, is that we know that you want your life to matter, but fear is your enemy. But when you know your worth, you will begin to change your world. And guys, I think that the dangerous thing for us, and I talked about in the thought of the day, is I remember John Maxwell taught on this, and he said he drew a picture of a train, and he had the engine, and it said facts on it, and then the next little car was a little coal car, right? And it said faith, and then the caboose in the back said feelings.
Okay.
And he said, if this is the way, if this is what is driving your life, down the tracks of your future, you're going to be all right. You come to know the facts, and that's the truth and the basic facts. This can be anything within reason, right? Even with the coronavirus, is when you understand the facts, it's like the percentage chance of this is not that scary. Spreading quickly. If you're healthy, this is not that big of a deal, right? Those are the facts.
Yeah.
So you believe that in faith. Okay, so I wash my hands, sanitize some stuff, don't touch my face. Okay, well, that's what I probably should be doing all the time, because the actual seasonal flu is even more dangerous than this.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Let alone-
But we just tune it out, though, when it's normal.
Yes.
When it's normal
Yeah.
flu, like, get your flu shots. It's that time. Everybody practice good hygiene. You're like, whatever.
Yeah, no big deal. This is the flu.
But it's like
Right.
coronavirus, and suddenly Corona beer's stock slips 15%
Yes.
because
Oh my
we as a
gosh.
species are just dumb sometimes.
But it's cause, I think it's because it's new, right?
Yeah,
There is a
exactly.
strand in this thing that we've never seen yet.
It's the fad flu.
But
Oh.
take that out of the coronavirus into conversations of when new things come into your life.
Yeah.
Right. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, I don't know. I'm so scared. I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
But Maxwell would say that you base your life on the facts of God, of the truth of God. At least you talk about this all the time about understanding what's true about you.
Yeah.
You believe that in faith, meaning that you actually have trust in that you actually make decisions with that guiding you. And sometimes it doesn't feel right to do what's right. Sometimes it doesn't feel great to make the tough decision, or it may still feel scary to step out in faith based on facts and truth. But eventually, if you do that, your feelings will catch up.
Yeah.
Now, reverse that. Now things get a little bit dicey, right? My feelings are driving the train. Right behind that is I'm actually putting faith in those feelings. They're not based on fact at all. Why? Because facts, right? Truth is the caboose that's getting whipped around by this fear-based frenzy. I didn't mean to use that many F words. That
Just on a roll.
that fear is putting me into.
Yeah.
Lisa, you developed a journal last year for. Anybody can go through it, but specifically you worked it up for moms and for ladies,
Yeah.
unpacking this whole idea.
Yeah, I just had come to a point in my life where I started recognizing all the lies I was believing in my moments of chaos and hardship, and so I started out on my own journey of figuring out what my triggers were, how to replace those lies with the truth, and then imagining and living in freedom. And so I thought, man, what a gift! And so I created this journal for women to understand exactly what's true about themselves, but through the lens of what's true about God. Because that's, for us, obviously, as believers, that's the only thing that actually matters. Like what God says about us and what God says about himself, who he actually is our foundation of truth, is our foundation of faith. And so, it's been hard to take my own advice sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's a huge step, right, for all of us. Is like, it's one thing to know something.
Yeah.
Like you go, oh, I know that now, and it's way better than being ignorant.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Like, I know this now.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing that's not working. Before, I felt out of control. I didn't know what was going on. Now I know it. But it's almost like I remember someone talking about that. It's almost like if you think of it topologically, is that correct? Like topology, right? Like mountains and like
Topography?
Topography. That's what I'm looking for. Is the breakthrough that you're looking for, that any of us would look for, where fear is not controlling our life, or our feelings aren't dictating things. We can get to a place where we get up in understanding where the dysfunction is happening, is like a stepping up higher than we were, up into a new type, like a mount, right? And we can look across and we can see where we're going. That's Mount Freedom over there.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. And I've come up to a level now. I have knowledge of what's broken. And I'm standing on Mount, like clarity, I guess.
Sure.
Now I have clarity on where I'm at. The tough part is the space between Mount Clarity and standing on the top of Mount Freedom is the valley of the shadow of death. Right? That's that process of going, well, the only way I get from this mountain to that mountain is I got to walk through this valley.
Can I
Yeah.
can I take the metaphor a little deeper?
Please do.
Oh,
And
then me.
I
Then
know
me.
you got one too.
Yep.
So the tree line stops at a certain point at a mountain. Things are more fertile in the valley where things are broken and hard and sometimes treacherous, and you have to go through it. You can't go over a valley unless you're in a plane, I guess.
Yeah.
But if you're going to walk through the valley, you've got to go, like God is taking you through that to grow something in you, to develop something in you, to develop a strength, some new muscle spiritually to make you get up into that mountain of freedom. I like the metaphor we're going with, and I toss to you now, Lisa, go.
Okay, so I was thinking too, and you can tell me if you disagree with this, Daron, but I, in my experience, I'm on the mountain, I can see the valley, go into the valley of the shadow of death, and then I feel like there's 3 or 4 different mountains before I get to Mount Clarity. Like for me, I don't feel like it's one big valley of the shadow of death, right?
Okay, keep going.
And so it's
like foothills?
It's just this. It's these foothills of, man, I am so deep down here. Okay, I'm feeling a little better. I've got a bigger grasp on this. I'm headed that direction, and then boom, something else like landslide. You know.
Well, I don't know if they're little mountains. I mean, if you maybe I combine these two realities with what Ryan's saying is like you think about like below the tree line. Mm-hmm. When you're up here, you see where you want to go, but like below that tree line, it's probably not other mountains, but you didn't know there was a swamp area that had poisonous snakes and alligators. No one told you that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're like, well, I just walked through the valley, right? We're just going to walk this road.
Right.
No, there's a swamp.
Yeah.
And then what you didn't realize is then there's a briar patch that you have to go through as well.
Yeah.
Right. And then on the other side of the briar patch, it's like then like as you make your way up, it's a real like everything's covered with moss and it's really slick. Like there are challenges within that you can't even see.
Yeah.
But there's things, but you're totally right. There are things you have to go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a really good Caedmon's Call song, if you guys are familiar with Caedmon's Call. A little early Christian rock.
Yeah.
If that's your thing.
Yeah.
But there's a song called Valleys Fill First. And one of the lyrics is, down in the valley, dying of thirst, down in the valley, it seems like I'm at my worst. My consolation is that you baptize this earth. Down in the valley, valleys fill first. So it's like there's more space to fill when you're lower, where the sunlight doesn't last as long. And I love that. I mean, we keep referencing Psalm 23, but it's like, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'm not going to fear anything because you are with me. It doesn't mean that because you've taken out all the enemies, it's like, no, you, like in that verse or in that psalm, it's like you prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. It's like you don't scatter them, but what you do is you prepare a table for me in their presence and still take care of me in that moment. I mean, it's like, that's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I don't know how we got on the valley mountain metaphor, but I like it.
Yeah.
And
how we got here either, but it makes sense.
It's good stuff. I hear us talking though, like my mind goes, okay, to use the John Maxwell illustration, what was the train? The
facts, faith, feelings.
Facts, faith, feelings. So is there a difference between, and this might be too deep, but let's go there.
Hey, it's behind the mic. We can go as deep as we want.
Is there a difference between facts and truth? Like, is there a difference between fact and I know there's a difference between fact and fiction. I get that, fiction, nonfiction, but like fact and truth, because I think in today's culture of what is it, postmodernism or relativism, where it's like, well, that's your truth versus like my truth. And I hear the term all the time, like I'm a creative type, and I hear artists all the time be like, I just got to speak my truth. And I hear them say that, and I'm like, it sounds like you might have heard that at yoga class.
Right.
Like, not dog and yoga, like whatever, you know, but I'm just like, I don't know about that. I like what Jesus says, where he's like, I'm not a way, a truth, and a version of life, but he's like, he adds the to it. He's like, I am the way, I am the life, I am the truth.
I would think that is all truth, I would say, is God's truth.
Yeah.
Like, if God is who God is, if he's the one true living God, then, and he is truth, then anywhere you find nuggets of truth, even if it's in some place that doesn't claim allegiance back to Yahweh, right, or to Father, it's still his.
Yeah.
Because he was first, right? If he's the author, perfecter, if he is Alpha, Omega, it all originates in him. Somebody else may have borrowed some things, but it's all his truth.
Yeah.
Right.
So that being the case, like I think there is, and when somebody says, well, I guess I got to speak my truth, it's like, well, no, you're speaking your opinion. If it doesn't line up with the truth, right? And that's not, and we know Jesus is personified as the truth. He says he's the way, the truth, and life, but it's even broader than that. And I think a lot of what we deal with now in life is people are being driven by things they call truth, but truth is not a relative thing that you can just make up. It's fact.
Is the whole thing of like all truth is God's truth? Does it only go to a certain point? Like, do you need to expand on it though? Because like Satan tempted Jesus with truth,
Yes.
in the wilderness, but it wasn't for his good and his benefit. But he still used truth. So
Yeah.
I'm
Every lie.
do we need to be careful when we say
Yes,
all
'cause
God's truth is God's truth?
Yes, because every lie that the enemy would bring against us will have some kind of element of truth.
Oh, there's some nugget in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm saying is the other parts we talked about during the show and what I brought up is that's where I think reason and wisdom come in.
Yeah.
And community too, I would say.
I would agree.
Yeah. for
Starts
sure.
with the Holy Spirit, extends to as our pastor Josh Hussman at Mercy Road Church and Indy would say, our oikos.
Yes.
Greek word for, what is it, the sphere of like 8 to 10, 8 to 15 people in our closest circle.
Because the bottom line is we are all interpreting truth.
Right.
A lot of Christians don't like that fact. I'm not interpreting truth. I'm just saying what it is. No. No, you're interpreting it the way you see it. No, but I'm right. Are you? You don't really know.
Right.
I grew up in, growing up in the church, growing up in a very, the denomination I did, and just seeing denominational thinking, which is the air that we have breathed, right? If we've grown up in culture recently,
Yeah.
is everybody's got a little version of truth. Why are there denominations? Well, because somebody interpreted Scripture in a way to go, well, this is the real truth. No, it's not. Screw you guys. I'm leaving. Well, what about the thing that talked about Jesus wanted us to be as one and whatever? Well, that's not as important as predestination. Well, I bet it is. So that's the difficult part to realize that even the things that we say, no, this is true. Well, you are interpreting that. But I think when we can sit down and go, okay, let's look at all of God's character. Is this consistent with who he has always been? Let me use some wisdom and some reason here. Let me bring community and some other voices in. And like to bring this back to the conversation we were having about feelings.
Yeah.
Like look how broad of a spectrum we just brought on digging into understanding and applying truth to our life.
Right.
Right.
That's enormous. Or over here, real small, is this crazy troll-like person. Remember the trolls you used to get in school with the hair, the big hairs? Remember
Oh,
those
yeah,
things?
yeah.
There's a little troll with the crazy hair, but it's like a bug-eyed, really crazy one. That its clothes are disheveled and kind of dirty, and it looks like they just maybe half of it's on fire.
Yeah.
Called feelings.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That is my new visual for my feelings.
Yeah, the little troll with their hair on fire. We've got truth, we've got wisdom, we've got reason, we've got community, we've got people to speak into it. And over in the corner is this little troll with their hair on fire being like, yeah, run, freak out. Oh my gosh, get all the hand sanitizer.
Right. Follow me, guys.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, good idea. I take hands with the freaking I'm on fire troll and we just sprint through the woods.
Yeah.
This is the problem with my life right now.
Well, here the balance. I think you said something on the show, Ryan, about how when you process it, it's different because you shut down some of the feelings. Like you don't access some of it.
Feelings are often the last thing I think about.
Yeah, and I don't do negative emotion.
Yeah.
I don't do pain. I don't do negative emotion. It's not the positive. It's the shadow side of me being an Enneagram 7.
Yeah.
Pioneer. ENFP. So, Ryan, we have worked our whole life on somewhere. And the tough thing for us is, Lisa, your troll shows up and takes you down some bad adventures.
Oh,
One of
yeah.
the tough things for Ryan and I is where the troll isn't the troll. She's like the beautiful, wonderful, wisdom woman of God that shows up and go, isn't this emotion great? This is the icing on the cake of what you're doing. Sometimes Ryan and I miss that because we're like, no, you're unpredictable.
Yeah.
We have hidden you in a dungeon somewhere.
Yeah.
So each of us have a different journey into it.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Where I think sometimes I can hurt relationships because I don't actually consult feelings at all. Whereas sometimes feelings for you are taking on a wild goose chase. I don't have the same wild goose chase.
Right.
But here's the crazy part. And here's how the devil tries to work to deceive us. The end result is the same. Damage to ourselves, damage to relationships.
Yeah. Yep.
We get there from two different pursuits, right? And so that's that process of knowing, okay, I got to know who God's created me to be, what that journey is going to look like, when I get into that valley, I know where I'm going. I know where I can see it. I know where the next mountaintop is, but this valley is going to be different for me in the process, right?
Yeah.
And I wish there was more of life was camping out on the mountaintop, right? But it's not.
Well, you could. I mean, you could stay there on the Mount of Clarity and never walk through the valley of the shadow of death and never get to Mount Freedom.
I actually, I am in a place of feelings of sadness right now that I've got a few situations in my life where I'm watching people that have built a house on clarity, and they're going, no,
right?
And their families, some of their spouses, other people are going, I can't stay here anymore.
Yeah.
Right, we've got to go through this.
We've got to go,
Yeah.
and they're going, no,
I don't want to.
I don't want to. You can literally leave.
Yeah.
I will leave this
Yeah.
because I refuse to find out what's below the tree line.
Yeah. And guess what? That I understand that instinct.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
Because fear, right, has got
Yeah.
a huge megaphone.
Absolutely. I remember when I was just like maybe 2 weeks postpartum with Calvin and sitting on the deck with my husband Ryan, and I mean, hormones and all the things postpartum, but
Yeah.
like the fear of I'm never going to get used to this. This was a horrible idea to have 2 children. You know, I cannot do this. I literally said to him, "Hey, I've got to go." And he's like, "Okay, where are you going?" I'm like, "No, I'm leaving." And he's like, "Wait, when are you coming back?" Like, we were just literally sitting on the deck, and it just was the only logical thing I could think is you have to go now. You're leaving. You're leaving now. And so I told him, I'm like, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. And he was like, like, who do I call
not
in
a
this
part of the
situation?
deal.
Right? I'm like, oh, here's the tiny two-week-old. Okay, bye. And I honestly, it's funny because I don't remember how that conversation even resolved. Obviously, I did not leave. I don't even think I got up from the chair. But in my mind, fear was saying, don't go through the tree line, right?
Yeah.
You could even take slide off the back of Mount Clarity back to whatever the heck's back there, because at least you know what that is. It's a lot safer.
Yeah. And I think, the tough thing about that is realizing, is you get attacked often in that place, Lisa, because it's a place of strength.
Yeah.
And that's what the enemy wants to do. He wants to lie, steal, and destroy us at our essence. So he can defame and destroy that which God has created beautiful and perfect, right?
Yeah.
So you have an oversized heart because he's created you to love and to nurture and to be a great shepherd, great nurturer. So where does it make sense for the devil to be like, well, I bet we could really kind of take this out of control? In Ryan and each one of us have our own shadow sense of self, and the enemy is going to attack us right there in our place of strength. And that's why this stuff is so important, because there's no greater joy than making steps towards becoming who you were born to be.
Yeah.
You get one life. We talked about this week, right? This was March 20th, 2020. You only get one.
Yeah.
This is your one shot.
Yep.
And the cool, amazing part that I'm learning more and more and more, and I know we are, and we hope you're taking steps on this on your own journey yourself as you listen to Radio Theology and Behind the Mic, and hopefully as you go through Spiritual DNA, is that God can be trusted.
Yeah.
Like that 23rd Psalm, like though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You unpack that scripture, and the point there is that what David is saying in that is that I trust the Father.
Right.
This is scary. This is crazy. Like, I'd rather stay here, but if this is that we are following Jesus,
Right.
he's not static.
Right.
No, he's moving.
He's moving. He's moving forward. He's creating the future. He's doing he's fulfilling the purpose of which the Father gave him to. And the amazing thing in this is that we actually have the invitation. Here's the good news. The invitation is to clutch the hand of Jesus and to walk where he's going.
Yeah.
And there's no better companion than that.
No, it's amazing.
Like, that's the gospel. Like, not, hey, try not to do dumb stuff and don't go to hell. No, right now, grasp the hand of the author, the perfecter of your faith, the God who created you, who knows everything about you, created you on purpose and for a purpose, who will walk you through the valley of the shadow of death because he's taking you to better. He's taking you, he always has your best interest at heart. He's taking you to that new mountain of freedom.
Yeah.
So then you can also, then from that mountain, guess what you're going to see? The next one.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful journey until he finally says, hey, well done. Well done, daughter. Well done, son.
Yeah.
Look, I know those valleys were tough. Guess what we're going to do now? Enter the rest that I prepared for you. And guess how long it lasts? Forever.
Forever.
Yes.
There's our last F word.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
I just like the hope in that of also looking back over the journey
Yes.
that you're leaving for your kids and your generations,
Yeah, like a spiritual legacy, not just, here's an inheritance,
Right.
but
Right.
what is
There's
the
inheritance
right?
of, like,
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to say of me that I just played it safe.
Yeah. My mom's great grandmother, so this would have been my double great grandmother she was my Nana's grandmother, I think. The story goes that she prayed for all the future generations of her family to accept Jesus, to know Jesus, to follow Jesus, to love Jesus. And it's interesting, like, without even knowing that, I had been praying for our two kiddos that they would know him, follow him, love him, trust him. It's like spiritual legacy is a really, really cool thing to think of. Just like you've got your family tree, like your genealogical family tree, but then your spiritual tree of like who is working in your ancestors' lives to bring them to a knowledge of who Jesus is and what he's done on their behalf and what he's still doing, and how that then, like we're all, I guess, would we be leaves or little tiny twigs, or I don't know, but it's cool to think that. And then I go, oh, trees in the Bible. I go, tree in the Garden of Eden, the two trees in the Garden of Eden, the cross. I like all this mountain talk as I go, oh, he was crucified on a mountain. Like he was transfigured on a mountain. Like he gave Moses the law on a mountain. I'm like, oh man, this is good stuff. Where did he go to get tempted? Out in the desert where it's hard and arid and kind of a valley of sorts. I think of all that stuff. Where was he buried? Deep in a tomb. Like, dude, this is a good behind the mic.
You're getting jazzed.
You had me at metaphor.
Hey, you could write some songs off of this. Right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I could.
Maybe you do need a song to set you off this week. And I just discovered this new song that just came out by Carrie Job and Cody Carnes, her husband. I guess it was recorded a couple weeks ago or a month ago or two at Elevation Church. It's only on YouTube right now. It's got over 1.5 million views. And dude, it has wrecked me and set me on fire. And it's called The Blessing. Just go into YouTube and search for it, The Blessing. And what gets me is it's basically just scripture about God's blessing and faithfulness. And one of the parts it says, in the lyric, it talks about that God is for you, and his favor will be on you. And it says, and on your family, and on your children, and on your children's children. And man, I don't do emotional. No, come on.
Sit in it.
Get back in those tear ducts. Tears is all day long as I've been listening to the song. I just keep seeing. I see my sons when I sing that and I hear that being sung. That God, I know God's favor has been on me because like you're saying, the genealogy, right? Because my grandma, because my mom came to faith, and because she came to faith, her mom came to faith, and because she came to faith, her mom came to faith. So my great grandma, my grandma, my mom. To me,
wait, it went in reverse order?
It's crazy.
It went up the tree.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
But it went from my mom to my dad. You know what I mean? Then it went, but you know what? It went backwards from both my dad to my grandparents.
Oh, wow.
My great-grandparents on that side were already dead. But like I'm looking at the favor of God that has rested on me, and I know that. And he's walked me through so many valleys, and he still will. But I have my 3 boys now, and I can say and declare that it is true because of the promises of God, because of the facts.
Yeah.
Even if they start going off the rails and whatever happens, no, here's the facts. Is God's favor is resting on me. It's resting on my children. It's going to rest on their children and on their children's children to 1,000 generations.
Yeah.
Like, man,
it's exciting.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what is true and available to you. Never, ever, ever let fear steal the faith and the strength and the favor of God that it can be and will be upon your life as you follow Jesus. It's the greatest adventure you'll ever undertake. It's the greatest invitation you've ever been given, and we encourage you to take it with us. If you got deeper questions, if you need us to pray for you, please reach out to us, whether it's on radiotheology.com, through one of our social medias. Just search Radio Theology, or you can email us directly at Daron, Ryan, or Lisa at blackbirdmission.com. We would love to hear from you. Hey, God bless you. We love you. We can't wait to talk to you next time right here Behind the Mic.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Mic. For more episodes, go to radiotheology.com.